What weird things happen during sex that nobody warns you about? When he keeps rubbing and thinks he has the clit, but it's not, so you try to reposition your body differently against his hand, or rub it yourself, attempt to guide him there, but he keeps rubbing your pubic bone raw anyway until you give up and just get on top. When you spoon with a girl afterwards and your dong shrinks and sticks to her back like a piece of chewed up bubble gum. How freaking like they do in porno movies is actually quite physically exhausting and doesn't feel very good. I think Ron Jeremy once said if it looks bad, it feels good. If it looks good, it feels bad. All those crazy positions aren't to enhance the pleasure, they are to get better camera angles. Also, sex can last too long and those marathon sessions aren't necessarily a good thing. I've had a few sessions that lasted multiple hours and it wasn't all that much fun for either of us towards the end. She dries up, we both get tired, etc. etc. Finally, cuddling can be awkward because you'll be trying to figure out where to put that one arm without your partner cutting the circulation off. When you try out a new position and it really doesn't work, and you kind of just have to be like yeah, next. When neither of you can get your angles right, yeah that's just my butt crack. Your hand cramps up or your elbow starts hurting. I'm a woman with long hair and poor eyesight, so I always have to plait my hair back, learned that early on, and if I want to see anything I have to have my contacts in. When people said you had to prepare for intercourse, this was not what I had in mind. BF and I both have miserable eyesight. I can't see more than 2 inches in front of my face without my glasses on. Same with him. Hooking up is 65% trying to not scratch each other's glasses trying to make out. Your mind wanders. Like, you'll be trying to enjoy what's going on and you'll know dang well that you have been wanting this to happen for a while, and you'll still have random one-off thoughts. It can take some self-discipline to stay in the moment, especially since not everything you're doing is necessarily what's best for you. Wait a minute, if I use mutexes I could stop the images from being uploaded in the wrong order but still download them simultaneously. Great dirty talk. Reapplying lube and then doing the old rodeo cowboy hand gesture because you can't find the towel, so you just kinda keep your hand elevated like you're afraid to ask Ms. Lang a question in 8th grade. If she gets overstimulated and either starts to cry, faint, or laugh uncontrollably. Personal experience is when my girlfriend was grinding and she came and began laughing hysterically. Made me feel a little bad and uncomfortable but she explained it to me. Unfortunately I'm a laugher. Please try not to take it personally. We do try to contain it sometimes but it's really hard. For me it's almost like he's doing a fantastic job. Holy crap, thank you laughter. When you are a foot taller than your SO and lining up is difficult. Just when she's getting close, my tongue cramps up. Jaw, fingers, and the needing to breathe when she has both your nose and mouth in just the perfect spot. Some toilet paper leaves clitty litter. Never buy soft, buy strong instead. Your dong occasionally slips out. Then it tries to find a different hole, aka the showstopper. Boob farts. Show me how them T fart. Sometimes, even if a woman is really turned on, she doesn't get wet. Sometimes you lose your spatial awareness. Partner and I were having a grand ole time. I lost sense of the bed dimensions. King. We were all over the place. Then I fell off the bed, butt over elbows onto my head and farted upon impact. I was embarrassed. He got me an ice pack for the knot on my head. We've been married 17 years now, and still laugh about it. Be safe kids. Flopping and slapping noises as your bodies meet. When you both have squishy tummies and your belly buttons meet up just right so they make a fart noise. Maybe that's just me. You realize your cat likes to watch. This is the worst, especially as they're not only watching but curious. You're in the heat of the moment, feeling good, forgetting you even have a cat, and then you feel their little paws in places they should never be. When you could go all night, but she thinks you're about to CM, and says don't CM yet but just hearing that makes you CM. The apology later is the weird part. Don't stop is another killer. Long frick does not necessarily mean good frick. For one, the girl can get sore, especially if the guy is big. It can also get boring if it goes on too long. It's all about finding the sweet spot, timing wise. I think it's been knocked into the heads of too many guys that the ideal is lasting for hours. For some women, I'm sure they love that. Others, not so much. Thank you. Some people don't understand this, especially from some girls' points of views. For me, 5 minutes of good passionate intercourse are better than hour plus intercourse. The noises. And the smells. It has its own smell. Queefs, curious pets, spontaneous genital malfunction, all genders, the dreaded taint smash, muscle cramps, falling out of rhythm, flesh farts, when two particularly well-fitting sweaty areas match up and there's a little air in between, and it escapes, real farts, short and accidental MMA matches, I've taken an elbow to the eye socket, and the sentence I don't bend that way. Some people can't do two physical things at once, so they might be able to kiss but once they're freaking they're bashing teeth, sticking tongue out too far, rotating the head the wrong way, just wrong. It's like they can't coordinate two types of bodily movement at once. This is me. You're not always gonna hook up with someone right out of the shower. Sometimes it's in the moment and it doesn't always smell, let's say, awesome. My partner won't have intercourse unless he's just come out of the shower within the last 2 hours. Unless he's been active, then he'll shower anyway. My favorite thing is the way he smells after the shower, and now his body wash is a turn on. Sometimes, hypothetically, the girl could be on top riding and you could wind up for a playful slap on the butt and accidentally slap yourself directly in the balls, causing great pain for one party and uproarious laughter for the other, pretty much derailing the whole thing. I wouldn't know anything about this, but it happened to a friend of mine. I'm waking up to ash and dust. I miss a butt and I slap my nuts. The falling asleep afterwards thing. But there's cleanup and peeing to do. IDK how people just roll over and sleep in their own slime while your pee hole cements itself shut. Hip cramps. Basically when your legs are spread too wide for too long and your hip flexor becomes a traitor, requiring your leg to be straight or you'll be in too much pain for enjoyment. Even worse when it's both of your hip flexors cramping at the same time. My mouth dries up to the point when I swallow it sticks and I choke and have to stop and get a drink. I guess from heavy breathing, moaning and panting, or getting so wound up from him I almost pass out, blurry vision afterwards. All those juices have to come from somewhere. Dripping and leaking afterwards, for her. Some people are absolutely amazing, attractive, wonderful people, but you just don't enjoy hooking up with each other. Sometimes it's libido differences and sometimes it's just certain things don't do it for you. I dated someone who had a high libido like me, but she loved teasing. I don't mind it sparingly, but literally every time she deliberately stopped before I was finished as she got off on me being frustrated and wanting her more. Something like that just won't work out if you don't also enjoy that. But for her, normal intercourse didn't do it for her, so even though we had great chemistry we would never see eye to eye in the bedroom. Sheets come off, mattresses slide, blankets start to bunch up no matter how flat they lied, pillows nowhere near the two of you will get launched. Things on the headboard are gonna fall over, just watch. Intercourse will turn a bed that is perfectly made into one that just hosted a slumber party, with a big sweat spot down the middle. Your first paragraph reads like a poem and I can't tell if that's intentional or not. When you're so close together that you're now basically stuck together with sweat and having to pull yourself apart after. And sometimes the hollows of your chest or whatever suction to theirs and make a fart sound. Then you've got to stop and laugh. If your significant other is lactating, the oxytocin can cause milk to squirt on you. Water is not a lubricant. Her legs might start vibrating at an alarming rate. I thought she was having a seizure and panicked, but don't be dumb like me. Apparently some girls do that when they're about to orgasm. Not always when they're about to CM. This happens to me if it's just really good, even if I'm not close yet. Policemen will sometimes rudely interrupt you by knocking on the car window. Human papillomavirus. A latex allergy makes things interesting for me. I have to always prepare and bring latex-free condoms if intercourse will be a possibility. It's a little awkward when a guy goes for a condom and I have to give him the briefing on what's up and go for mine instead. And you can't really predict if it's a good fit for him. Fun stuff. Oh, I always keep latex-free condoms since my last GF had an allergy too. Found out it wasn't that rare. How wildly varied orgasms and time can be. Sometimes you can be extremely turned on, go for too long and dribble at the end. Other times you're extremely turned on, fire off fast, and it's like you've got to hose. You've got those seconds rounds that fire off harder than the first. It just varies so dang much. This isn't even exclusive to intercourse. I've disappointed myself before over how little I made me CM. The amount of stamina required and the significant value of general fitness. If someone had told me in school that gym class was mainly going to aid you in sexual contexts, I would have made a much greater effort. A male friend told me in high school, in a group conversation if I remember correctly, that the most athletic thing I would ever do is sex. He wasn't wrong. Having sex on the beach is not what it's made out to be. Even when on a towel, sand gets everywhere. As it happens, sand is not a good lubricant. Also, you can get disapproving looks from the other people there. Sometimes you may get a bad headache as you get closer, especially for men. If it happens more than once or twice, see a doctor. Sex headaches can be a sign of something severe. You can be incompatible with someone. They might want the deep, slow romantic crap you see in movies, and you might want filthy, degrading, dirty talk, and you might be turned off doing what they like most, and vice versa. Also the leg cramps. So I dated this girl in college for a bit. The first time we fricked doggy, I was surprised to see her butthole dilate to the size of a dime. I've never seen that before or since in any other partner. Sometimes I wonder if I imagined it. She took a picture to capture the moment. Something happens that you didn't necessarily want or plan for, then you realize you kind of like that. Kinks almost happened by accident. One time my wife was riding me and her phone rang. She answered it. Insta CM. Sometimes you can't finish. Applies to both genders. Not always a bad thing, as I know it can knock your pride. Weird, but something you work around. Most assume you're going to finish overly dramatically like an P, or at least that's what my friends and I thought. To spare my wife's feelings, early in the relationship, if I couldn't finish, I faked it and claimed it must have been a ghost load. You have been visited by the money bird. It'll bring you good fortune, but only if you subscribe in 42 seconds or less. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check out another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day, you magnificent people.